my show. My name is Christy, and I'll be your hostess with the mostest today. If you haven't seen part 1, part 2, part 3, or part 4, where I go undercover talking to a scam artist that's pretending to be the famous actor Joseph Gordon-Levitt, then please stop this video and go watch them now. But if you have seen part 1, part 2, part 3, and part 4, please stay tuned, because where we left off, the scammer was trying to tell me that his accounts had been frozen by the court. He now needed me to loan him 10,000 US dollars. I just told him that it was a lot of money to lend out to someone that I've never met before. And even though I am a sweetheart, I am definitely not stupid. At this point, I have realized that trying to argue with a scam artist will get you nowhere. But after reading his message where he insisted that he was once again trying not to scare me, I couldn't keep quiet much longer. I told him that I knew he was a scammer. He asked me if I thought he was a broke man. He said if I didn't trust him, that there was no feelings there, and once again insisted that he was not a scammer. I just told him that the scam that he was doing was flat out stupid. I told him even if he was the real Joseph Gordon-Levitt, of course he's not though, but if he was, it was pretty messed up to ask anyone that you've never met before for large sums of money. He knew that he was losing the battle, so instead he used a different kind of tactic to try and get my attention. The scammer tells me that I am hurting him so much that he's thinking about taking his own life. Well, of course I am going to respond back right away if someone says that to me. Since the scammer saw that I responded to him, he started laying on the guilt trip even more. He said that he had been crying all day long. The scammer also tried telling me that he was only trying to share his problems with me and not extort money from me. He also said that he couldn't believe I was just going to ignore him like he was just a commoner. The scammer guy still insisted he was not lying to me about anything and that I made him regret his own life by calling him a scammer. I tried to explain to him that the way he came off was definitely how a scammer would be. And I told him that I couldn't understand why he wanted me to stick around if he knows already that I am not going to fall for any of his scammer moves. He said that he was in love with my soul and insisted for the millionth time in a row that he was not a scammer. Then get this, you guys. The scammer tells me that he understands me perfectly, and it was a scam move. Oh my goodness, you guys. I don't recommend ever purposely going undercover and talking to a scammer. It's like banging your head over and over against a wall. You get nowhere with them. The scammer tells me that he only wants my love, and maybe he'll lose his wealth, and he knows that $10,000 is a lot of money for me. He was all like, my friends gave me $490,000, but all I need now is $10,000. What shall I ever do? He said that he really only needed my opinion on what to do. I told him that I would ask for my family for help if I was him. He insisted that he had already got the money from family and friends. The scammer then goes on to tell me again that now all he needed was me to lend him the $10,000. See, this is what I mean when I said that talking to a scammer is like banging your head over against the wall, because I was just so tired of talking to him by now. The scammer tells me he'll just get the money somewhere else, and he just doesn't want to lose me. Later on that day, after taking a break from my phone for a while, the scammer messages me and says that he had been crying all day. I think he could tell that I had grown distant. I just simply told him that I was sorry, that the only thing he cared about was getting money from me. When I didn't respond for a while after that, it drove him crazy. He didn't know he would try calling me twice just to get me to talk to him again. For the longest time, I knew the scammer had to be from a different country. A phone call would prove that to me even more. I knew his next tactic very well. He would try and convince me that he wouldn't ask me for any money. And after that, I decided to just forgive him. He would just go back to asking me for money all over again. It was an endless cycle. I really did want to talk to him on the phone, though. I was getting irritated that I kept missing his calls. I guess this made the scammer very angry as well, because he told me that I was evil. He said I was nothing but a heartbreaker. It's like he really thought a single profile picture that he downloaded off the internet would prove that he was really Joseph Gordon-Levitt. So then he tells me to just go away. I tell him goodbye. And then he tries to call me once again. I really wanted to talk to him on the phone, so I tell him to try and call me back. When I answered the phone, he says right away that he's in fact Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I hear his accent, of course, and I wasn't surprised. I tell him on the phone that I think we should just really be honest with each other. I'm trying not to laugh over the phone. I hear your accent, I tell him. Without skipping a beat, the scammer tells me again that he's the real Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I had to go put my phone down. I couldn't hold back the laughter any longer. I didn't even tell him bye. I just put my phone down and I just walked away from it. The next day, he messaged me like nothing had happened. He could tell I had grown distant even more. I just felt like everything had ran its course, and now I had everything I needed to make my videos. That's when the scammer went the extra mile and made me a fake ID to try and prove that he was really Mr. Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I took one look at this ID and I knew it was fake. I didn't say anything about the ID, and this made the scammer mad. He said that he didn't like that I kept ignoring him. And then later on, when he messaged me, he acted like nothing had happened between us. And he was never even angry with me. The scammer said that he went to court again about his divorce and that his lawyer wasn't ready because his payment wasn't complete. Is he seriously going to ask me for money all over again? I thought to myself. And sure enough, he started to ask me for $3,000 this time. Let's just say I was a bit irritated. I decided it was time to bring up the fake ID. He asked me what was on my mind, and I told him exactly what was on my mind. I told him how I've worked in gaming for a while now, and I knew that his ID was fake. I started to point out every mistake to him and how I could tell he wasn't even a U.S. citizen. Just look at the height on his ID card. Do you see that? It looks like it's in meters. It's like he's insulting my intelligence. Come on, guys, seriously? I showed him how that even his birthday was incorrect. And there wasn't even a zip code after the address. I did use Google Maps to look up the address. I was really curious to see what the house looked like. The house was nice, but I really don't think it was Joseph Gordon-Levitt's house. I guess with all the mistakes I pointed out to him about his ID, he just said I was insulting him. He actually tried to tell me that he got his ID outside of the U.S. I simply told him that they weren't going to give him a U.S. ID outside of the country. And I told him that the picture on the ID was even all wrong. This is when the scammer guy realized that he was busted and he could no longer lie to me anymore. He just gave up on trying to even explain himself to me. And now it has been 2 weeks since the last time I've heard from him. Believe it or not, this whole undercover work that I did has ended up being a blessing in disguise. I never thought that much to look at that app, that hit record that Joseph Gordon-Levitt owns. I saw that the app was free. Well, I downloaded it one day. I absolutely love this app. It's an online community that works as a production company. So writers, filmmakers, musicians, and artists can all come together to create their visions into a reality. There is tons of things to do on there. My favorite thing to do is the voice acting. My very first day I contributed 51 voice acting projects. This one I did is really cool. Just listen to it. It's supposed to sound really scary.
Don't worry. You are not alone.
People even go around and heart your stuff. If you love being creative, you should really go and download Hit Record now. I really hope you all enjoyed my scammer stories. And yes, this is the end to them. I will not be talking to the fake Joseph Gordon-Levitt anymore. Right now, I do have a fake James Franco and Snoop Dogg messaging me on Twitter, though. It's really true. I thank you kindly for watching my channel, and please subscribe. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and much love to you all.